Ladies and gentlemen, I may be intimidated, but I'm going to try the best I can. I'm talking to an alpha male, Jim Tietjens, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Mr. Kevin. How you doing this afternoon?
Oh, baby, I'll tell you one thing. I'm on the top of the world right here, right now. You're
What?
sounding better. You're feeling
Yeah,
better.
thank you.
And I was wanting to give you the opportunity to be able to tell all your family and friends what's going on with you, how you doing,
Sure, sure.
and
Yeah.
then we got the secret. We got to expose the secret of the reunion.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun this weekend. 50 years
Yes,
for our state championship soccer team. So,
it,
we still got about 12, 13 guys left, and it's sort of memorable for all of us.
yeah. And the North Side guys, Rosary, they're going to be okay. They'll be in mourning for an hour or two, but
Well, we put it out there for as many people that want to join as it's
Oh,
really turned into more a celebration of sort of brotherhood and soccer, and
nice.
there's mutual respect for
Oh yeah,
all the players we played with and against back in those days.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, I had a conversation last night. Was it last night? Yeah, I think it was last night. I was in the hospital still last night, and I had a conversation with Jim Boker on some things, and I had told him that I had gotten a note via Facebook from the head coach of Rosary, Carl Schwartzen Sr. Carl
Wow.
Schwartzen Sr. And I thought that was pretty cool. And Vokes was actually telling me what a great player he was. He said, he was a German with great skills, hard player. So I don't know that we hear his name thrown around a lot, but it was kind of interesting hearing from Vokes on just how respected he was and how much of a great, skillful, hard German player he was. So
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of cool. I had met his son in a SLU golf tournament a couple of years ago where I was sponsored a hole and was kind of selling the books to raise money for the SLU soccer team. And I met his son. So it was really just kind of nice to connect with him, have him say hello, and really, I thought it was pretty cool. It meant a lot to me. And,
Yeah.
like over the years, I've kind of developed a little bit of a relationship with Coach Drake, Vince Drake from
Yeah.
Aquinas.
Yeah.
And, when you get to our age, it's just respect for the game and respect for the people
Right.
that came before you. Yeah, so it was a nice chat with folks last night.
Oh, great. Well, that Swartzen, he had a brother also, and
Okay.
they both were like the original stars. They played in
Oh,
the
okay.
initial St. Louis version,
Okay.
and then
Yeah, I did not know that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then one of them was a coach for DeAndres.
Okay. So those are the kind of things on your show when you're talking to people way back, and you hear these stories, and we haven't talked in multiple months, but I've loved some of the shows you put on, especially the one I really enjoyed was with who I call Sir Chuck Zarumsky. Just hearing about his career and what he did at SLU and what he's doing now, and how he grew up playing, junior ball, high school ball, on in the SLU, and
Yeah.
just amazing that
Yeah.
he was
Senior
involved
ball,
with
national.
yeah,
Yeah.
7 championship games, which apparently he won 6 of them. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I
Yeah.
mean, there's no one modern day, even 20 years back or 30 years back from modern day, that I don't think can claim that kind of stuff. So,
Well said, bro.
you've had some great shows.
Yeah. And he's the official psychiatrist for Wales Certified.
I saw that. I was impressed. I just saw that, and I was figuring, what can I become the official something?
Yeah,
I
well,
need the official. Maybe I don't deserve a sir title, but I certainly deserve an official title. So think about that,
Yeah.
Kevin, and you figure out what I can do there.
All
so.
right then.
But I'll share a little bit, Kevin. I think you know that I've been in the hospital since January 6th. And actually today is the 27th, and they just let me out of the hospital today. I was in a live-in rehab for the last 10 days, getting rehab primarily on my right foot, and was able to go home today. And I was in the hospital over the massive storm in the weekend, so didn't get to go out and have fun in that. But, one thing I really haven't talked about a lot over the years, maybe some of my close friends, is that I've had a lot of leg issues. And when I say that to a lot of people, they're not really sure what I'm talking about because I haven't really gone into great detail. But my leg issues are really a lack of blood flow from my waist down to my feet. So that's going through my thigh, going through my knees, and on down to my feet. And they call it peripheral artery disease. And it's really at an epidemic in the United States where a third of the people have it. Some people don't even know they have it. But it's kind of like your arteries block in your heart arteries, and those big arteries there, they can also block in your arteries below your waist and down below your knee and into the feet. And there is no cure for this at this point. They're working on it. It's not a sort of big brand name disease, so there's not a lot of funds going to it. But there are certain organizations that are working very hard to try to find out what causes it. And, that's what they're working on now. And they feel when they do find that out, they'll have a better chance of finding a cure. And now I'm talking about, hospitals all over the country, some really big hospitals, including Barnes here, working together to kind of research and try to understand. A couple of years ago, I was part of a group study and part of a group out in California that was working with doctors and hospitals on this. And, it was very interesting because there was about 12 of what I would consider patients who had this disease at the meeting, and we all come from different walks of life. There were laborers out there. In my case, I've had chemotherapy, and there's been some suggestion that chemotherapy could cause it. There's been suggestion that it could be hereditary. There's been suggestion that your arteries could age quicker than other people. There's been suggestions that because of all the multiple surgeries I had, could that have anything to do with it? So there's a lot of research going on, but no answers at the time. And what happens is when you start to lack blood flow from your waist to your knees and then below your knees to your toes, you get neuropathy, right? Your nerves aren't getting blood. They're not getting oxygen. So they're starting to, I hate to use the word die, but they are starting to weaken and potentially die. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I can't comment greatly on it, but there are some nerves that will come back over time, and there are some that aren't. So this has been going on with me probably 7 or 8 years, but just the last 2 years has gotten really severe. And what I mean by really severe is the arteries below my knee and down to my feet have been, at times almost 100% clogged. So from your waist to your knee, you have a primary artery, and it's a big artery, and they can go in and they can stent that, they can balloon it, they can do multiple things to it. But once you get below the knee, there's 3 much smaller and much narrower arteries that go down to your feet. And it's very hard and very dangerous to get in there. And because they're so small, it's very easy to puncture them. And that could result in a limb removal pretty quickly, from what I'm told. So, over the last 4 or 5 years, my 2 surgeries in the last 3 weeks were surgery 19 and 20. One was on my left foot, one was on my right. The surgery on my left foot was great, and we had planned a surgery on my right foot probably a week later. But a day later, my right foot down below my ankle sort of turned purple. And something's not right when you put your hand on the bottom of your foot and on the top, and it's cold. Typically when you touch your skin, the body temperature in your body is 98.6, right? So typically you're going to feel warm skin when you touch it. So something's not right when you touch it and it's downright cold. And it's not even really a cold day or cold night out. So that caused immediate concern to me. And There's a lot of pain with that. So it was kind of interesting how it all came down. But I took myself to the Barnes emergency room one night, and there was 150 people there. And, I would have waited there all night. So I said, I'm going to go to MOBAP, right? So I drove over to MOBAP, and there was, maybe 10 people ahead of me, and I was now in line and probably number 2 or 3. And amazingly, it's like 10:30, 11 at night, out of the MOBAP sort of emergency room doors walks my vascular surgeon, Dr. Patrick Garrity. I didn't even know he was doing any work at MOBAP. So he must have been on call that night. So he walks out, and he sees me in the waiting room and kind of rushes over to me and wants to know what's going on. So I tell him what's going on. We're talking. He kind of examines my leg right away. And this was, I forget what night. I think it was a Wednesday night. Yeah, I think it was a Wednesday night. And, he got me in, and they admitted me that night. And, before, we talked, and he told me how busy the Barnes operating rooms were for the next 3 or 4 days. So he said, well, Jim, the plan is to get you over to Barnes on my home turf, because that's where he does most of his surgeries at. And we're going to have a real extensive surgery. One possibly like he's never had before. So all my other 19 surgeries were something where he goes in, he's in there an hour and a half, and he's out of there. So a lot of this is happening pretty quickly. I get over to Barnes the next night. Actually, no, I get over to Barnes Friday night and get admitted there late in the night. And, he's told me that, hey, we'll try to get a operating room Monday, but we might not get one till Tuesday. So we end up not getting one till Tuesday. And again, this guy is a real cool, really calm customer. He's not a guy that likes to take credit for anything. He's just, we'll go in and we'll see what we can do, Jim. So we end up getting an operating room at about 5 o'clock on, I guess it would have been Tuesday night, right? And I did not know the detail of what he was going to do when he was inside my leg. But I knew that I was closer than ever than getting my limb removed. And over the last 4 or 5 years, he has been determined for me not to lose a leg. So we went into the operating room at 5, and we came out around midnight. So it ended up being a 7-hour surgery. And, I was kind of in and out of it. Obviously he probably went home that night. After the surgery at, 1 in the morning, he's calling my daughter in Chicago, explaining everything that went on to her, because there was a lot that went on. And, it was kind of his situation where he basically went in there full tilt to try to pull out all stops, and had to take risk on this surgery that he hadn't taken before, because the alternative was removal of my leg, and he was determined that he wasn't going to let that happen. So I came out of the surgery, and I never really talked to him. I mean, by that time it's 1, 2 in the morning by the time I get up to the room. And, I see smiling nurses and things and saying, hey, it went well and things like that. But I will tell you, it was just a ton of pain. It was, as I get older, these things seem to get a little bit tougher. So it was a ton of pain. I couldn't put any weight on my right foot. And a lot of that issue with the pain was really more the product of the damage that was done to my foot because of the lack of blood flow. It sort of skyrocketed from the beginning of 1 week to the end of the week when he did the surgery. It just went downhill so fast, and the foot was damaged. It was damaged because the nerves were damaged. Things were not, there was no blood going down. The foot was, cold. Essentially, if you let it go, it's dying off. So his job was to go in there and do more than he's ever done, take the risk, and try to do what he could to get some blood flow, not really knowing what the outcome would be. Not really knowing what the outcome would be. So then after about 4 or 5 days at Barnes, still didn't have my hands around the pain, but they transferred me over to the Rehab Institute of St. Louis. It's called Trizzle. It's down there on the Barnes campus. And I've been there for about the last 10 days. And again, it's now like, okay, now you've got decent blood flow going to your feet. It's a wait and see thing on your right foot. How much is it going to heal? It's going to keep healing. Is it going to stop from healing? So it's kind of a 2 to 3 month turnaround. I'll tell you the first 8-9 days, every day there's been, a little bit less pain, a little bit less swelling. And that really all has nothing to do with the surgery, more the damage that was done to the nerves in the foot from the lack of blood flow. So, I'm in the mode now where I'm home. It's great to be home. Not out of the woods, but I'm going to do everything, I can do and everything the doctors directed me to do to help this leg recover. And I may never recover 100%, but I'd be happy if I could get back to, 80%. We'll just have to wait and see. And, the doctor's always a very much realist. He says, Jim, you're not out of the woods yet. But I also find out, by talking to all the doctors and the therapists around me the last 10 days and a few people at Barnes Hospital, just how amazing of a job he did. And, you're not generally in leg surgeries for 7 hours. And, he had a full day that day, starting in the morning, right? And here he is at 5 o'clock at night going into a surgery that, him and the team at Barnes in the operating room, they didn't know it was going to be a 7-hour surgery. And these guys they were locked in, focused. And, I mean, so fortunate to have the doctors we have at Barnes. And I was a little down, and I had posted a note on Facebook saying that, hey, just reminding myself how thankful I should be for all the great things that happened in my life related to my health, but lately I was a little down. Here's why. So, I probably had about 250 responses on Facebook, and, we talk about my book, and the name of the book says, and that's really indicative of what I went through the last 3 weeks. All the people at Barnes, all the therapists, doing everything they can, going full out to help me, to save me. And, and for the time being, I'm in a better spot. So, that's kind of the long end of it. I've let a lot of people, friends, know what was going on, which I really never talked a lot about my legs. It's really not a lot about that in my book, but that's it. And, I'm going to continue to work here at home, get to the gym, hopefully tomorrow, and, start with the little things first to try to keep the blood flowing. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. I don't know if you have any questions or, confused. I mean, I try to make it pretty simple, so I think people can understand that. But when you go into the arteries below the knee, there's 3 of them, but you can really only work it one at a time. And that one, if you work it one at a time, that affects 33% of your blood flow, because each artery of the 3 reflects 33% of your blood flow. Now I have to ask him specifically on this one. I go to see him in a couple of weeks. Hey, did you work on more than, why were you in there 7 hours, versus the other time? So anyway, but either way, I'm grateful. And, I'm kind of starting to piece together what I'm hearing about this surgery and how he did it. So pretty amazing.
Yes, it is, man. Wow. I mean, to tell you, man, geez.
I had told you that, heard from a lot of people. I was telling you before we got on the phone line that I actually heard from the coach of Rosary.
Yeah.
Rosary. His name was Carl Swartzen Sr.
Yeah.
I heard from him, and that's who we played in the state finals. And, I mean, that really meant a lot to me, to hear from, someone like that.
Yeah.
And, I kind of regularly hear from Coach Drake from Aquinas, Vince Drake, and things like that. I talked to Jim Boker last night, and like I told you, he was telling me what a great player that Carl Schwarzen was. What a great, player with German skill and incredible hard player and toughness. So kind of cool. It's
Yeah.
kind of cool, like when you listen to some of your shows, right?
Well, there you go.
Every
Yeah.
time you learn something new. And
Yeah.
I could probably listen to your show with Sir Chuck Zurumsky, 10 times and never get bored of it.
No,
So
never.
yeah, very cool. Yeah, very cool.
So
So,
here it.
the good news, real quick, Kevin, is that right before Thanksgiving, I had my annual heart review for my transplant team. And that would have been the review for my second transplant, which was in 2018. And the docs told me that the young heart they put inside me in 2018 was as strong as it was the day they put it in. So that's the good news. The ticker's still going good.
Nice. And the situation is that you have the deal that it's. I lost the train of thought. Oh, I lost my train of.
Say that again, Kevin?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
I know what it was.
Okay.
All those Rosary guys and all the teams that you beat that year because you went undefeated, right?
No, we lost. We lost to Dallas in penalty kicks, St. Mary's in regulation, and then we lost one more game. I think it might have been Vianney, I think.
All right.
Yeah, we weren't undefeated, but I will tell you one of the thrills about that is I end up being teammates with so many guys.
Yeah.
On that team, so many of those Rosary guys. Rick Benben, coached Kansas City Comets for years, also at SIU.
Yeah.
He took a all-star team from St. Louis to play in a tournament in Scotland, and he invited me to be part of that team. And that team was pretty much loaded with Rosary guys, Aquinas guys.
Yeah.
A couple of the Malloys. So, I just became good friends with those guys. And, to be part of our game, it goes so far beyond the field,
Yeah.
Love being friends with those guys.
Well, you had a life time memory of that season because people say, man, wow, he was just off the charts, man. When people say he was standing on his head, you played good.
I was getting a little lucky. I was never flexible enough to stand on my head, but I was getting a little bit lucky, and had some balls, had a ball clear off the line, and I did some good things, but it wasn't all me. But I think what you're getting at maybe is this Saturday we have our 50th anniversary of that team winning the state championship.
That's right.
And the last 15 or so years, we've had a reunion at an eatery, a bar and eatery on Telegraph called Caruso's Bar and Grill, and it's on Telegraph down south. And we've always turned it into a fundraiser. And when we started out with it years ago, our goal was to raise $1,976 and donate it to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital every year. And we accomplished that pretty regularly. There wasn't a lot of people there, so it wasn't a lot of money, but there also wasn't a lot of people. But over the last 4 or 5 years, we've really turned it into a bigger event where, we invite guys from all sports at Oakville. We invite coaches. We invited the football coaches from Oakville because before soccer became a huge sport at Oakville, the football coaches coached soccer. And they really were the guys that laid the foundation. And, we stay in touch with them on Facebook, so we invite them. They come. And, that year that we won the state championship, our football team was 10-0.
Wow.
10-0. Yeah, they were 10-0. And I forget what happened, why they didn't go to state, but they had some amazing athletes on that team who were also soccer players. They had a guy by the name of Bruce Leahy, went on to punt at Arkansas.
Wow.
He was a striker, big, strong striker. guy by the name of Mark Maurer. Could play really anywhere on the team. Was a big, strong, fast guy. They all came from St. Francis and were part of that system, and were soccer players. So it's just kind of turned into, yes, we love to donate the money, and with that, the last 4 or 5 years, Kevin, what was once $1,600, or what was it, $1,976 a year? Last 4 or 5 years, we donated over $5,000 a year. So started to make a little bit of a difference for the folks at Cardinal Glennon, and that's really the pride for us now. Besides seeing your brothers and then enjoying it, and we'll have a big crowd. I'm sure we'll have anywhere at some point from 50 to 100 people, and anyone from the north side's welcome to come down. And I put something out the other day on Facebook, but it's at Caruso's Bar and Grill on Telegraph Road, way down south. Telegraph is the last exit before you cross over the James Bridge in Illinois.
That's right.
Yeah. So no, it'll be great to see and celebrate with the guys, and some backslapping going on, a lot of hugs going on, and I'll see how long I'll last today, because I'll be probably sitting in the chair a lot. But yeah, we're really looking forward to that. If you have time, stop by, Kevin. Just say hello. I'd be happy to introduce you to the team.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather right now, but the story is, if I could get on a screen, you FaceTime me, Papa, boom, baby, hello.
Okay. Let me see if I can figure that out. And, You make a good point, because there's a couple of these times. It's the same time every year in January, and there were 2 times after it I ended up in the hospital.
Oh, my God.
One time, Kevin, I drove right to the hospital from the event.
Oh, geez.
Went to the ER, they admitted me, and I almost died of pneumonia.
Oh, my gosh.
So, I can laugh about it now, but don't go out if you're feeling under the weather. I'll figure out if we can, figure out a setup to...
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to say too is, I don't think there's any problem saying this, but I've got 3 brothers, 3 teammates that I believe, and I want to push for them becoming members in the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame. Don't know if Jim Leaker's listening, but I'm going to be stopped by him to talk to him about it. But I had a left back, right back or left back by the name of Bill Coletta. Bill was an incredible player, Italian guy, just an incredible human being, an incredible player. I played with him for years. He played in college. He played on some great teams, and he's certainly very deserving of the St. Louis Soccer Hall of Fame. And then we had another center back who played in front of Don Barczewski, Kurt Billmar. Kurt was a St. Margaret Mary Alico guy. Kurt was playing with guys that were 16, 17, 18, 19 when he was in 7th and 8th grade, and just a hard player. And, this is another guy that I'm going to do everything I can to see that he gets into the Soccer Hall of Fame, only because I'm certain him, like Bill Coletta, deserve it. And then last but not least, our captain, Gary Ullo.
Wow.
He was our captain for that team. Gary's one of the best friends in the world. One of the guys, as Kurt and Bill are, who's always been there to take care of me when I needed it. They've always been there to lift me up when I needed it. All right. So Gary was our captain, our leader, skillful midfielder, just ran the midfield for us, and went on to be successful in college. And he's another player that absolutely, it's on my shoulders to get them in, but it's not on my shoulders in a sense to get in because they did it. They deserve to be in.
Right on. Yeah.
So we're gonna work on that, which would be pretty cool, because if we get that done, that's 6 guys moved for the Hall of Fame, which would be 5 from that team.
Wow.
5 from that team. And of course, the St. Louis young guy who went. Steve Ralston went to Oakville.
Wow,
Right?
did
Steve
he?
Ralston was a national team player, MLS player.
Yeah, he
He's
was.
in the Hall of Fame. So I can't wait for the night when we're all sitting together at the table at that dinner and sort of celebrating each other.
The big O would be the centerpiece right in the middle of the table.
That's right. Yeah. Be a proud moment for us boys from South County.
Wow,
yeah, sure.
man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But I don't know, anything else you want to talk about? I know World Cup's coming up. I'll just mention my thoughts right now on our goalkeeping situation. I have to tell you that, I'm a little concerned. He's gone with Matt Freese, which I understand why he's done that, because Matt has the physical makeup of an international goalie, with his height, with his size, fairly athletic, but he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't have the knowledge of being a goalkeeper so long, or that's at least how it appears to me. There's some decisions that are made that worry me. And I think we need a goalkeeper in the World Cup that is going to steal some games for us. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Matt Freese does that. But what I've seen leading up to this point, I haven't seen it yet. But why Pochettino is going with him, I do understand that. He's got the size of a Neuer and, Peter Cech and those guys in those days. So which I also believe you need someone with those physical attributes, So I know why he's going with them. And, he's still got 5 or 6 friendlies, which aren't going to be real friendly, because Germany, Portugal, some tough games coming up. Some tough games coming up before the World Cup. And so he's got a chance to hopefully make some improvements. And I think it all really boils down to decision making.
Man.
So that's it. Be happy to get other guys' opinions.
Well,
but that's it. I don't see, Turner or Patrick Schulte overtaking him, because I think just based on what Pochettino has shown at this point, he's our guy, because he's the guy who's playing every game, trying to get him as much game as experience as he can.
The story about the goalkeeping, you mentioned it, to steal a couple games or a game. And the situation is that these guys, I've got to say it, they got caught. And they're going to go to the penitentiary. The whole idea is you don't get caught stealing. Well, these guys are getting caught.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point to make. And, like you said, it may not be a lot of games, but maybe a game, maybe a key game, maybe a game in the quarterfinals to get to the semis, or a semi to get to the final. That's 1 or 2 big saves that may be a big decision that prevents something from going down, and I just haven't seen it, and it worries me a little, because usually used to be that we develop goalkeepers, pretty regularly to be, high-class guys.
Yeah.
You remember the game Tim Howard had against, was it not Uruguay, not Paraguay, Portugal. Yeah, when I think we were up with them late and ended up tying them or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he had his saves were in the teens that game.
Even David Vanoli, you can't turn that name away.
Yeah. Now, I'm kind of interested to see the goalkeepers on a national scale, because I'm not seeing a guy out there right now, from what I've seen in the league play, that is just, like you said, standing on his head,
Yeah, no.
Donnarumma from Italy.
No.
But I've seen him make mistakes,
Yeah.
Neuer is in the twilight of his career, and, physical monster out there. But I've also seen him at this day and age make some mistakes. So it'll be interesting to see, coming out of the World Cup, who may be considered the best goalkeeper in the world at this point.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
And maybe someone will take us by storm. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll be on it. Well
Yeah, how
certified
nice would
for
that
sure.
be if it was Matt Freeze? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah, right. Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's about it, Kev.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to hope to start some therapy and treatment at the gym tomorrow. And I lost about 10 or 12 pounds. And
Woo.
when I lose weight, it generally goes on my butt. So right now I can't keep any shorts or jeans on. They just fall right down. But one thing I would like to say, and they all know who they are, but I heard from so many people in the hospital wishing me well. You know, they could tell I was kind of down from my post and just, you know, giving me prayers and, you know, you got this, Jim, you can do it. You've done it before. And, you know, again, like you talk about all the people who helped me through the last 35 years, been there to save my life. I mean, the list is endless. So right. I thank them for all the notes from St. Louis, from out of St. Louis. And yeah. It really means a lot and really lifted me when I needed to be lifted. So thank you so much.
Right on. And how can somebody find your book?
Really, they should go. They can contact me at on my Facebook page, or they can contact me at my phone number, which is 314-779-7254. They can. It's on still on Amazon. The name of the book is Saves by Jim Tietjens, and then they can also go to my website, which is InspireMeStoriesLLC.com. InspireMeStoriesLLC.com.
Wow.
So lots of ways, you know, and
yeah.
We still do have plenty of books, and you know, very proud that we've probably donated about $2,500. You know, not a lot, but you know, one thing that we were able to donate over $500 to the SLU soccer program. I was very proud about that. We were able to just donate some books ourselves to a few of the high school soccer programs. So that was pretty cool. So you know, if you have any kind of need, want to talk to me, those are the easiest ways to reach me, and I'm usually a pretty easy guy to get a hold of.
All right, JT. It's been a blast. Right on, baby. Top notch.
Thanks. So I didn't get any time you know, to rest at home. I came right home, and you know, you called, said you want to do a show. I was ready to get myself in bed and lose myself in my blanket. I said, nope, Kevin's calling. Let's do it.
Oh, man. I'm blushing, baby. Blushing. Yeah.
So again, I deserve some kind of official certification.
Well, okay, so there it is.
Okay.
You're well certified Hall of Affinity, Jim Saylor.
Oh, and actually, you know, the good news also, when I got home, my driveway was shoveled.
Wow.
And a nice surprise. How about that? So,
wow.
All right, so everyone out in soccer world, Wales world, have a great weekend. You know, enjoy yourself, and you know, pretty soon the snow will be melting. We'll be seeing some soccer pretty soon. So
right on.
Actually, and then we'll be seeing some international soccer in June. So let's all enjoy it as it comes. Okay.
Right on, Jim. That's a guarantee.
Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Cheerio.
Bye, dog. Thank you. Bye-bye.